Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a key skill for Business Central pros like yourself, consultants, maybe you're a Business Central admin, and perhaps you need to transfer environments. And we're going to talk about this, how to do it the right way. In addition to that, this is also a great use case for consultants that may be setting up environment for Business Central, configuration settings and so forth, and you are ready for testing. You can then do a transfer of that environment to the end user's client environment. So saving you time from having to do a repeat of configuration packages and so forth, you can do this using this process. In addition to that, we will be going down how to do this step by step, and we'll also be referencing to the Microsoft Learn documentation as well. So stick around for some of these pro tips and how to do it in process. We're going to do this together so that will be a seamless process. Now, I'm going to be doing this in two separate environments where I've never done this before. So we're going to be learning this as we go. So let's jump right in.
Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost.
Okay, I'm on an environment right now that has two environments. One's production and one is a demo environment. So I have a demo environment here called demo test. Maybe I've done a lot of work on it. Maybe I've already had some records in there as well. So let's take a look at that. I have a company here in the customer card called the 2 Centavos WM. WM is waste management company or maybe client, and I'm ready to transfer this to the maybe end user or a client environment or vice versa, or maybe you're merging with another business, and rather than do manual, you can do this process as well. I've also noticed that there's some uh, I've had conversations with people out there that don't know this process. So it would typically take them a long time where they extract all the information from config packages, all the setups, tables, and things like that, and then manually create an environment and manually import via config packages. So this process is really going to eliminate that, saving you plenty of time so people can start using and testing that environment right away. So let's get started here. The first thing you want to do is a few caveats before we get started. First, you have to have admin rights to be able to accept, receive, or transfer environments. In addition to that, you also need to make sure that the receiving side of the environment have a Business Central license as well. So if you don't, you're going to get that error. So make sure you have the Business Central license too. So we can get started. I'm going to go ahead and click this environment transfer. And one of the things it's going to ask you to is that you have to know the Entra ID of the receiving side of the environment, the Entra ID, and then vice versa. Because when they receive that, there's a receive environment here as a step. They will also need to know the sources Entra ID as well. So this is going to be a collaborative approach, a collaborative task. So you want to make sure that you're working with somebody. Unless you're like me, I have both of these environments. I have admin rights anyway, so that's why I'm able to do this demo. If you don't, you have to collaborate with the receiving and the source as well. So in this case, I'm going to start transferring an environment, and I'm going to transfer the demo test into the other one just to show proof here that I don't have that environment with the other one. Here's the other environment here. I don't have that demo test environment. So we should receive that. And then it's also dependent how big the data you're transferring as well. How big is the environment? So that could take you some time. And I may cut this video with the magic of editing so that we're not sitting here for 8 hours to see that transfer. So going back to the other one, I'm going to start do a transfer environment here. It's going to ask me which environment that I need to transfer. You can do multiple environments, but also keep that in mind. Whoever's receiving this environment, you have plenty of capacity or storage for them to receive. So maybe they already have some environment and you're transferring another 80 gigs, but they're only capped at 80 gigs. you may come across some of those issues. So make sure you have plenty of space as well. In this case, I'm going to leave my production environment and I'm just going to transfer the demo test environment. Here, I'm going to enter my Entra ID for the receiving Entra ID, the destination, and and then set the when you want to execute. Now, some best practices, you want to execute this when no one's on um, in the environment. So maybe perhaps a overnight or over the weekend, depending on your business hours. In this case, I want to do it right away. So it's already past a minute since we started this process. So I'm going to hit transfer here. And then that's pretty much it. So how can you tell if it's in the process? There is under operations on the left-hand side. You can then filter by that environment, or it should show up at the very top here. So you'll see that it's queued. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this environment. Now, it will change the status once the receiving end accepts that transfer. So let's get to the other environment. Okay, now we're back to the other environment that's going to be receiving this environment. I'm going to go through the same process and I'm going to click this button called environment transfers. Instead of doing a transfer environment, I can go ahead and then receive the environment. So I'm going to receive the environment. Then again, I have to enter that tenant ID. So let me go ahead and do that from the source, hit next. And you will then see that I have a pending incoming transfer. That is the demo test environment. It does allow you to change the environment name, the destination environment name. This is perfect because you may have the same name environment. For example, sandbox. That's a common name to have in an environment. So if you already have a sandbox environment or a demo test in this case, I would highly recommend that you change the destination environment name. In this case, I don't have that, so I'm going to just leave it alone, accept it as is, and I'll just hit confirm. All right, once you accept this, you'll see that going back to if I was to try to receive it again under environment transfers, you will notice here that accepted incoming transfers. So it's going to start scheduling this. Now, again, it really depends on the size of the environment. So this can take some time. And again, some caveats, you have to make sure you have a paid subscription on your Business Central tenant. In most cases, you should, but if you are testing it for yourself, you'll need to make sure that you have a paid environment as well. So we're going to see how this works out. Again, I don't know how long it's going to take, but the magic of editing, we should be able to see this show up in one of my environments for what we call the demo test environment that I am receiving against against this tenant. So we'll go ahead and wait for a minute. Oh, I wasn't joking. I guess I just had to wait for a minute. But again, the environment itself is very, very light. There's not too much in there. Now you see my demo test environment. If I take a look at back, if I take a look at the other environment here, you'll see that it was initially set. And if I were to refresh this here, because originally it's queued and went to my personal one, you'll see that I no longer have that environment here for the demo test. So let's take a look at the operations to see what that looks like. You'll see that the transfer of this environment is now complete. You'll see that it's now completed and transferred. And again, I can confirm that it no longer exists here. So going back to the other environment, I have this demo test. Now I should be able to open this up, see how this works. And if you recall, I created that environment or that customer to Centavos Waste Management. So let's take a look. Hopefully, it'll get the environment ready. There's my environment. Take a look at my customers. And there it is. I have the two Centavos Waste Management Company client just to confirm that the environment actually transferred. So going back here, you'll see that it is, I now have that environment. Pretty cool. And again, this is super, super helpful for those that are want to have everything set up or you're merging companies, you need to move it from one tenant to another. This is perfect. Now keep in mind it is per environment. You can't just choose companies. within that environment. But if you take a sandbox from your production and so forth, and remove some of the companies you don't need, you can do that and then transfer the environment. Let me take a look at to see what my environment operations look like. You'll see that I did a transfer. It was completed here, and now it's here. It's pretty straightforward. It's such a super cool feature, especially from a tool belt from a consultant's perspective, even as well as a BC admin that has to manage this through acquisitions or merging and things like that. This is perfect. With that, if you do find this very helpful, please let me know. Leave a comment, like the video, share it however you want to do that. That would be fantastic. And again, I appreciate everyone's time for tuning in. And I'll do more videos like these, things that are maybe some additional skills that you should be aware. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everyone.
Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.